All right, I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahawah, BaHaSham, YAHAWASHI, BaHaSham Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to you, brothers, pushing this truth and sincerity. All right, yeah, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. So real quick, this is trying to do a re kind of like a re-upload of this video I did right here. Tim Dillon knows Babylon will be destroyed because of Amalek, and this was a video commentary I did to a commentary of this guy right here from Liberty Vault, and he's doing a commentary on Tim Dillon, and it's dealing with President Trump, his friendship with this woman right here, who is a Amalekite. Okay, you know who they are, all right? Because this is at a Hanukkah reception. All right, we don't identify them as the true Israelites. They're nothing but Amalek, okay, which is a tribe of Esau, Edom. All right, the Israel lobby, okay, which she's part of the donor class, all right, that financed Trump's second term, that helped get him into office second term. So she's a political, a contributor, a donor contributor. So she probably pledged millions of dollars, if not billions, to get this man reelected into office. And I'm gonna play an excerpt of this video, Lord's will. The audio picks up because the audio didn't pick up in the video that I previously did. And he said something, pertaining to Babylon. So, pertaining to Babylon, aka America. So let me do this before I bring this out real quick. I'm gonna bring these scriptures out real quick. I brought a few scriptures out, and then I try to do a re-upload of the video again. Another scripture came out. So the first scripture I'm gonna bring out is Sirach 21:4. It says, "To terrify and do wrong will waste riches." Okay, thus the house of proud men shall be made desolate. And I had brought this out the last video, and that's what they do. They contribute to campaigns to have agendas pushed. All right, to do wrong, to terrify. All right, if you speak up against if you speak up against a particular people, you're called anti shim. You're ostracized. You're basically dis. You're basically silenced. All right, or your coral is basically or whatever issue you have with Amalek is diminished once they call you anti-Shem. All right, you got the next precept. You have this is Exodus 17, and I'm just going to go straight to the point. Exodus 17:14, it says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." Okay, it says, "And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nisi, for he said, Because the Lord have sworn that the Lord have sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." So the Lord is an enemy, okay, to these particular people, and also to Edom. All right, and as long as you have the Israelites on the scene, the true Israelites on the scene, all right, they will constantly remind the world, right, the Lord hates Amalek, he hates Edom, okay? And also in the scriptures is written that Idumea are the people of the Lord's curse to judgment, okay? And since the Lord is going to have war with Amalek from generation to generation, ultimately when Yahawah comes, he's going to take Amalek out of power. So you worried about Iran and these different nations getting, or even ISIS and all of these T organizations that have been created and propped up, and behind the scenes, where does the money come from? All right, you worried about them, and really, ultimately, you need to be worried about the Lord Yahawah Shah. Okay, because remember the scriptures speak of the king of terrorists, man. Let me get that. All right, they'll tell the people that you need to worry about uh, 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 Islamic terrorism. Okay, but really they need to be telling the people, all right, for the sake of what we're doing on the earth, we need to be worried about the king of terrors. All right, so we're in Job 18 and 10. It says, the snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. So all the power he portrays to have, there's going to come a time where he ain't going to have it. All right. It says, it shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. All right. The firstborn, okay, of death represents YAHAWASHI. Okay. It says his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. All right. So you're going to meet the king of terrors. All right. You cried wolf for the longest time. Now you're really going to see some terror. All right. It's going to come from on high. All right. Now there's another precept that I wanted to bring out real quick. We was back in it's back in the book of Sirach. I'm going to bring that out in Sirach 10 and Sirach 10 and 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So how did these people get their riches? All right. A lot of times it comes by unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. And that's why the kingdom is going to be taken away from them. All right. And right now, as Tim Dillon is going to go into, man, they're just what's the word? The word for it. They're taking everything that they can get before the collapse. Okay. Let me play this video real quick.
Where's Alan?
Alan is here. Oh, he had a flight. 4 years. Alan is here. 4 years. Think about it.
Thank you.
Maybe I will be the first one who told you, or second. Yeah.
She said, think about it. I'll give you another 250. But
So you have a class of people that's happy because Trump is in office. Now, not the people that that voted to get him in there, but you have the Amalekite. Amalek is happy. All right, Amalek is happy, man. Okay. Amalek is happy, man. Their money is flowing. They're getting it. Okay. But the average Edomite, he ain't a part of Amalek. He ain't getting it like Amalek is getting it. Like, especially like the top donors. All right, they're calling for 4 more years.
I will give.
But her husband, Sheldon, was an amazing guy.
Course, he was an amazing guy. He was Israel first to the core, and you boasted about giving the Adelsons everything they wanted, including moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem to prevent a Palestinian state in the future. And I really think it's a lot of trolling with Adelson and Trump and Bannon in the past, floating the idea of a third Trump term. Obviously, it's prohibited in the Constitution. It's not like Trump is an alien to violating the Constitution, just like basically every other U.S. president in the last century at the very least. But at the same time, there's going to be serious roadblocks to this, and I think that this is being raised to troll Trump's political opposition and really take and deflect energy off of the Epstein scandal and the potential regime change in Venezuela and the job numbers being stagnant and the fact that we're $38 trillion in debt and the fact that we got sucked into a new war with Iran. Anything to take away the notice of Americans from those things is why that issue is being raised.
You know, they seem to be good friends. Here's the thing. She's trying to suck money out of the country to do a genocide, and he's kind of paying her back for investing in him after that January 6th thing. But here's what I see. Get that up again and just play it without volume. As I get older, as I'm 40 years old, you know, I could be disappointed about the genocide, or, you know, I could even be disappointed in him about, you know, selling America out, the insurrection, whatever. What I see though is a friendship. I actually see a good friendship, like a genuine friend. As you get older, there's less and less people you can relate to, and they're both billionaires. They're at the end of their lives, or maybe not, but it seems like it. I mean, they're older, and they've done a lot together. She helped him get elected. He helped her, pulverize, women and children and men. But here's the thing. There's a friendship here. It's kind of a real friendship. There's a great affection. You can tell by their body language. He respects her. She respects him. She's a tough operator. So is he. Folks, it's what the goddamn whole thing's about. It really is. Let's take a break from the nonsense for a minute. That's what it's about. That's what your life is about. Having a couple of buds. Having a couple of buds that you can look back and say, look what we did. In 15 years when Gaza's some AI Miami and they're both long dead, but somebody's doing coke, it's some rave, and they talk about these people, there'll be a little statue of Trump down there. And there'll probably a statue of her, like, Trump and Miriam. They'll talk about Trump and Miriam. They'll go, how did we do this? Didn't a bunch of people used to live here? And
You can't make it up, man. Protect him at all costs, and he should make a shirt that says "Friend of the Show" because he says that about people like Miriam Adelson. But really, I mean, it's tough to laugh in a way because this is such a dark humor. But really, Tim is exposing what so many of us can't typically by really showing what the power forces are in Washington, how our political system works, and it is the rich donor class that's contributing to the genocide in Gaza and the Israel first mentality that Trump exudes. And of course, Tim presents it in the most unique and humorous way, but it doesn't escape intrigue because of that fact.
People will go, yeah, but it'll be like, I'm like, yeah, people used to live here. They used to live in this whole thing, And then they'll talk about these days, and they'll talk about the days before the Great War, and, they'll talk about the times before America was destroyed in a world war. And they'll talk about Trump and Miriam and how they had the foresight to suck the money out of the country now before we defaulted on the dollar and before the Great War. Before we started losing our standing, before the dollar was no longer the reserve currency. They're going to say that Miriam, at the very tail end of our empire, Miriam got the money out of Donald Trump, but she had to give him money to win it. She had to bet on him to get it. She had to make the bet to get it. And that, my friends, is friendship. Believing in each other is friendship. Believing in each other, knowing that, well, we got a few years left before this whole thing goes tits up. This thing's going tits up.
I don't know how he remains deadpan for this, man. This is just...
Yeah, man, basically America's finished, and, the Edomites at the top, they're looting this place for whatever they can get. And the average citizen is just going to get left to deal with whatever hell is upon the streets of America before it's destroyed. So I'm in the video here called Halal Yahawah BaHaSham Al Shai, BaHaSham Akak Wadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you brothers pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Until the next video, Shalom.